Now, hello, folks. Welcome to a Poznansky examination. We're joined with fellow Jay here, another
Yes,
from Louisiana Beer Reviews.
hello, and thanks for inviting me. And sorry we had a little delay, but that was a lot to do with my fault, really. Okay.
And yeah, mine too. Well, today we're examining Corona Extra. You said it really wouldn't make a difference between the can version and the.
Unless there's a skunking issue. Now I bought a 24-ounce can. They were 2 cans like this for $5.50 plus tax.
Mm.
So 2 tall cans for $5.50. Not the greatest deal, but considering you can get Miller High Life 2 quart cans for $3. So.
Now, did you watch the examination I did with Eric?
What was that beer?
Yingling.
I watched it. Yes, y'all did the Yingling traditional lager, right?
Yeah. Now there was a part of that where my computer crapped out. I'm hoping it doesn't do that again, but we can only pray for the best.
Oh yeah, I remember that. And I was thinking, gee whiz, what's going on here?
Yeah, I was so scared I was gonna lose the whole feed because we recorded so much good info, but I was able to get back in on the system. But anyway, so this is from La Cerveza Más Fina, brewed and bottled, Cerveceria Modelo, Mexico. And I wanted to know, is this a Heineken product or an InBev product?
Yeah, Cerveceria Grupo Modelo. I'm eating some crackers with Havarti cheese and onions and hot sauce, and I think it's going to pair well with that. It is a Anheuser-Busch InBev brand. It was partially owned by AB, but 3 years ago they bought 100% of the company.
So, okay.
What happened?
Yeah.
I was trying to look up Constellation. Here we go. Crown Imports. Grupo Modelo was started 1925, and then they kept buying different little companies out, and it became like this huge Mexican beer producer. And then, well, when it's big and it's profitable, that attracts other buyers, right? So Anheuser-Busch InBev came along. You know, Anheuser-Busch got bought out by InBev in 2008. So 5 years later, that outfit turned around and bought out Grupo Modelo. And I'm drinking out of a Modelo Negro Modelo glass. I don't have a Corona glass, but this was sent to me by Grupo Modelo, so I appreciated the 2 beautiful glasses they did send me.
So you have beer companies sending you like free stuff? Is it free or?
Yeah, what happened was last year, I believe it was 2015, they contacted me and they said, hey, we have this opportunity for you. And I thought, this sounds like some kind of scam, you know, some internet scam where, you know, these people pose that there's somebody. And I said, oh, yeah. And they're like, oh, no, really, it's for real. You hear me all right? So they said, no, we represent Grupo Modelo, and we want to send you these spices. And also they sent me a box of 4 different gourmet spices from a company called the Spice House, a cutting board, these 2 glasses, and $50 to buy Negro Modelo beer. Now, plus they had a little brochure on how to cook food with the spices. Obviously, it was some promotion that they were doing in conjunction with that spice company, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they knew I did videos. And I'm sure they watched and they noticed that my review of Negro Modelo was very positive. So, you know, they figure it's a no-lose situation. Now, I don't know where they got this idea that I could cook, but I mean, you can follow a recipe or whatever. So I said, okay, I'll do it. So it was all free. The only stipulation was they wanted me to obviously buy beer with the $50 instead of just other things. And to do videos where I cooked food and I drank the Negro Modelo, which I did all of those things. I did a bunch of cooking videos, and it went over very well.
That's cool. So I guess we should talk about the overall appearance first. It looks like regular straw color, right?
Yeah.
Particular golden, very light golden straw color. There are some other adjunct bloggers that are like Heineken and Beck's, and maybe Budweiser, a little darker than this. This looks almost like a Coors Light.
You know, I always found that Corona Extra had a different shade of gold to it, and I can't describe what it is. It's almost like a burnished gold. It's not exactly the same as other beer.
You said burnish?
Yeah. Or old gold, like
okay,
maybe the San Francisco 49ers helmet. I don't know. It's hard to say.
No, I can see. I kind of know what you're talking about.
It's not a big difference, but it's a difference, and I can't really adequately describe it. But I started drinking this beer 20 years ago, and I always liked it. We would go out to Mexican restaurants. Of course, I would put lime in the bottle because that's what everybody else did, and I would drink it out the bottle usually. And I used to really enjoy it before I realized or found out I wasn't supposed to like it.
Before you got into the whole craft beer world you're talking about?
I started reading all these comments about, oh, that beer is terrible. And I was thinking, what? I thought I liked it. People would say, oh, that's the worst garbage in the world. And I'm thinking to myself, where's this coming from? Because I mean, it's not a Russian Imperial Stout, but it does.
Well, yeah.
It's
not meant to be one.
To me, it has some, decent mild aroma and decent mild flavor. I've never thought it was bad. I'm sorry.
I mean, I don't think my aroma right now would be too much of a good source of information because I do have somewhat of a cold. So,
yeah, and I got this pollen that keeps making, but I can breathe, but the pollen keeps.
Because I don't get much on the smell right now. I don't know if you can pick out anything from the aroma.
At least you're not picking up skunk.
No, well, this is the canned part, but I already finished the bottle. Even the bottle wasn't skunked at all. But I still wonder. I think I've been given the answer before, but I keep forgetting. I still wonder why. Is it just cheaper to put it in clear bottles?
No. No.
Or is it a signature?
Corona, if you get on their website, on the Grupo Modelo website, there's a real long, drawn-out history of the beer, each brand, and they say, well, they tried selling it. They were selling it in brown bottles, and then they thought it looked better in a clear bottle, like it was more sparkling and it was more attractive. And obviously, or apparently, no one really cared about skunking issues because they drank it straight out the bottle. You're not going to smell it really anyway. So if you get on their website, they originally did sell it in brown, but they thought that the clear looked better. Then later in the 1960s, they offered it in cans. And only just 2 years ago, they offered it on draft. It was never on draft until just 2 years ago.
Really?
Yeah, and I believe it was first imported into the U.S. in 1981. Let me see. 4.6% alcohol, so that's pretty mild. Number one
for some people.
Number one selling imported beer in America. Yep, I was right. 1981.
I thought Heineken was the number one imported beer in America.
No, but it's up there.
But that is, I mean,
Corona,
yeah.
And Modelo Especial are huge.
Well, I know tons of people. Where I work, I mean, this is one of the main beers. I only have 4 beers where I work. Coors Light, Budweiser, Heineken, and Corona. And Corona is a big selling beer. But they always give it with the lime in it. I'm not a big fan of that. I actually don't like the taste of it with the lime.
I don't mind it, but
I think it kind of gives it an off flavor. It kind of like messes. It kind of messes with it in a weird way. I think it's just me.
No, I would prefer to have it like you, straight without the added It says water, malted barley, hops, corn, and yeast. Smooth taste offers the perfect balance between a heavier European import and a lighter domestic beer. And I think that's a perfect description because it's not as heavy as a Heineken or a Beck's, but it's not as light as a Busch or a Coors. It's got a little something to it. Not a lot of something, but a little something. And somebody was telling me you're using faulty logic because you're saying since a beer brand is really popular, that makes it good. That would be faulty logic, but I really wasn't saying that. I was saying that if it's the most popular beer in Honduras, I don't think it could be horrible like some people are claiming. And I don't think this would be the most popular Mexican beer if it was horrible like people were claiming because no one hardly would buy it, right?
That's true. Now, on the aroma, it is slight, but can you pick up maybe some, all I'm getting is like maybe a hint of the malt, and that's it. Maybe just a hint, and that's it.
Oh, yeah, this is...
Again, I do have a cold, so maybe I can't smell, but like I'm not getting much.
No, it's not particularly aromatic.
Yeah, unless it's kind of watery on the nose, if that makes sense, if you can smell water. But, I mean, maybe a hint of malt syrup and some graininess, if it's maybe. But I guess let's go into the taste.
Let me see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a faint, like, I guess you call it sweet corn or a sweet, almost.
Is it corn or is it rice?
Yeah, they use corn.
Yeah, they use corn.
A sweet, maybe one of those biscuits that you can get at like Popeyes, those biscuits that they drop, like they drop the dough and then they make those really with a lot of powdery stuff on it. I don't know, not sweet stuff. But yeah, but it's not like really, really, really aromatic. You can. Do you get the brown bottles in New York City?
Of Corona?
You're in Queens, right?
Yeah.
They do make Corona brown bottles.
I've never ever seen a Corona brown bottle in my life.
I literally could have bought one today. I saw it, but I didn't like the price. The price was not nice. It was $3.89 for a quart bottle.
What?
They're only sold in big fat quart bottles, and it says Corona Familiar.
Oh, come on. Yeah, that one? I know, yeah, okay. I thought you meant like Corona Extra.
No, it's the same beer. It's Corona Extra, but they call it Corona Familiar, meaning like family size.
Really? Hold on, let me look that up.
That's better than saying bum sized, but
Corona.
yeah, it's like an urban and suburban and rural legend that it's a different beer, but it absolutely is not a different beer. And if you look at the bottle cap, it says Corona Extra on it. It's the same beer. It's just in a big brown bottle.
This one.
Yeah, I saw it today.
I've seen that. Oh, I thought that was a different Corona.
Oh snap! That's the same beer.
Okay, so yeah.
But it won't get skunked.
This one wasn't too skunked. I mean, how long does it have to be in sunlight before it gets skunked out?
I don't know. I saw one beer reviewer said within minutes, and I don't believe it. I wouldn't recommend leaving it out in sunlight. I've noticed that most grocery stores aren't too concerned about it. They'll either leave it in the sunlight or they won't.
Well, does regular light do it too, or just sunlight?
Oh yeah, the fluorescent lights and the incandescent lights and sunlight, just light.
How come they don't become Miller High Life and just throw those? You said they had like not light resistant hops pellets.
Yeah, the Galena hops. Well, apparently, so many people have drank Corona Extra with the skunk aroma that they think that's what it's supposed to smell like, and it doesn't seem to bother most people. But I like the sweeter, corny, biscuity smell myself.
Almost like a white bread, like a not toasted, but you ever? It's not Okay, you know, like when you have like white bread, and there's a fine line between stale white bread and white bread, but it still gets that little crunch, that hardness on
Yeah.
the outside, but and it has its own specific taste. This
Yeah.
might sound a little odd, but that's what I'm getting at. Like, think of crunchy white bread, but not stale,
Almost like Melba toast.
but also not toasted.
Yeah, it's hard. Yeah, you're right. It's hard to pin down. This beer has some uniqueness to it.
Now,
Man, yesterday I was at a Mexican restaurant and I had some beef stuffed chile relleno and beef taco and refried beans and guacamole salad and Mexican rice. And I think this beer would have been so good with it. But, you know, oh well. I'm
I
drinking.
had not yesterday, but 2 days ago, I went to a concert, and before the concert, I had Chipotle.
Uh,
They actually sell Negro Modelo at the Chipotle restaurants that I went. The worst Chipotle I've ever been to, though. Service was awful, but
oh, sorry. Negro Modelo. Well, you've had Corona Extra many times.
I mean, yeah, you know, I was a teenager, and this is kind of cheap beer in my neighborhood. So if I was going to a house party, I'd bring a Corona or something, Corona Light maybe. But Corona Light's a little different. I'm not a big fan of Corona Light.
It's okay. My neighbor across the street, man, she loves Corona Extra. If you told her that that was a bad beer, she would look at you like you were simple-minded or something.
I have a friend just like that.
But apparently there's tens of millions of people in just the United States who think that way because this beer is huge. I see it in every store, and it's in multiple packs, 6 packs, 12 packs, 18 packs, 24 packs, bottles, cans, tall cans, single cans, quart bottles.
On tap?
A lot of Mexican people drinking it now. Some people will say, oh, those Mexicans, they don't drink it. They know it's bad. Oh, yeah, they do know it's bad? That's why it's the most popular beer in Mexico, because they know it's bad. Okay, all right, good, thanks.
Well, I think I mentioned this with Eric when we were doing Yingling, but what kind of water do they use? Mexican water to brew these Corona beers?
Oh, yes.
And we know that
Purified. And
it's purified?
Yeah, and secondly, it's brought above a boil, so it's not going to make you sick. I have been to Mexico many times. I never drank the water. I made sure I never got any drinks with ice in them because the ice has the water. So it's a risky proposition to go down there and drink the water. Most people in Mexico don't drink the water. They just drink bottled either soft drinks or beers or micheladas or cheladas, but or wine or whatever. But when I went to Costa Rica, I was drinking tap water the whole time down there, and I never got sick from that at all.
Well, that's Costa Rica. Isn't that a little different than Mexico in terms of water supply?
Apparently, I didn't do any research on it. I just took the risk, and I never got sick.
That's good. I mean, Florida water isn't that great, but when I went down to Florida, water was. I mean, actually, what I recall, I actually only drank bottled water. There was maybe one or a few times when I had their tap water, but it wasn't that bad.
I went to New York City last summer in June. I guess that's spring still, technically, but it was summer. It was really hot too in New York City last year. They had like a heat wave, and it was like I was sweating like a dog, you know. But I was guzzling tap water.
It's good, right? Our tap water is good.
Yeah, I had no problems with that. Hey,
Well, we have the world's best filtration system, I think.
Yeah, and it comes from those reservoirs in the Adirondack Mountains and all that. So I mean, it tasted really good.
I mean, that's what they want you to believe, I guess.
Oh, I had to drink a lot. I didn't buy any bottled water. I was just drinking out of all the fountains, and I was so thirsty because it was so hot, and oh yeah, it was really worked out very well. This beer tastes good. I would like to talk about the flavor.
Yes.
I'm picking up noticeable hot bitterness.
You are or not?
I am.
Do you? I'm getting a slight alcohol taste though.
Okay, people, I just can't get over it. These are the kind of beers that fascinate me more than anything. Because yeah, if I'm drinking this Struce Black Albert, which every rating site on planet Earth gives 100 out of 100 or higher, well, yeah. So it's the most awesomest thing in the world. So that's kind of dull because it's the greatest thing, right? But this beer is interesting because it's like a Flashpoint product. On the one hand, people are saying it tastes like nothing. It's got nothing. It's nothing. But then I drink it and I say, no, it does have something. You just drinking too much this Struce Black Albert.
I'm picking up a heavy corn syrup taste in the front, but there is some slight alcohol presence in there. Some bittering hops on the back end.
Yeah.
I do get those. And what I was talking about before with that kind of crunchy white bread taste, because to me, crunchy white bread has its own taste other than soft white bread and burnt toasted bread.
It's distinctive. It's not ebullient. You know what I mean? It's not like, oh, this beer, it is so bountiful in its flavors. No, it's nothing like that. It's sublime in its flavors.
It's a little bitter though.
I find that it has quite a noticeable hop bitterness at the end of the sip. I'm sure the IBUs are low, but okay. So there we're saying, you're saying the white bread, it's got a little sweetness. It's got the hop bitterness. It's got a little body, but then you get on these rating websites and you read the comments and they'll say it tastes like nothing. So I'm thinking that people's palates are not too discerning or something.
Well, I think, but how do I form these words? Basically, when those root beer people and those beer advocate people and whatever, they're just flavor heads, If there's not if there's not overly amount of hops, then an overly amount of specialty malt with, they're just kind of like beer snobs.
Yeah, and well, there's two parts of it. One part of it is their taste buds are like denuded because they only drank the boldest and most flavorful beers. So if it's not a bull in a china shop, they picking up cardboard, okay?
Yeah.
Second problem, and that's a danger, you see. So when I started doing this beer hobby 20 years and a month ago, I wanted to make sure I kept trying to pick up little notes, even with the mildest beers, and not just get caught up in that. And it's a bad thing to get caught up in because everything has to be explosions and the Death Star blowing up and all of this. So then I think they get burnt out on it after a while, and then you'll see a lot of these people drop off because it's like, if you only were on the most exciting roller coaster at all times, after a while it wouldn't be too exciting.
True. Too much of a good thing.
Right, and then you're saying, well, the little kiddie ride has no value, but the little kids love it, because they're going around in those little cars, So, I mean, we're not kids. We're not little kids. We're not saying we want to eat Gerber, but you know what I mean? They lose their perspective on it.
Yeah, and another thing,
and you talked about that, how you were getting caught up in it.
So, and I've thought about this, but sometimes some of these heavier duty beers sometimes go into the 15%ers. For my personal, do you really want a 15% beer?
No, never.
I mean, these kind of beverages are meant to be even back when they were created in the early BCs. They were basically being created as either a supplement of water or some kind of social thing, so you could drink when you're social, right?
Yeah, it's not about so you could sit alone in your house and
get wasted,
have your neck beard and talk about the 1600 subtle tasting and aroma notes of a 15% beer that only 11 people could buy at 2 a.m. when they wait in line to go into a cellar in the east side of London. I mean, that's wonderful. You know,
$9 for a 12-ounce bottle.
right, and that's wonderful that you did that. But most people are like, okay, whatever. But I don't know. You know what I'm saying? It's not all. It's not. It's a drink. It's not that serious. It's like music. You get a lot of people. You get these music sites going on Facebook, and you get the people that jump in and start trashing everybody.
I used to be one of those guys, but I've learned my lesson.
Yeah, it's like, wait a minute. Some people like disco. Who are you?
Yeah, and like if you're going out for a New Year's Eve party and Sierra Nevada Ovila Quad, which is like 12% alcohol, and it comes in a nice champagne cork bottle, and it's a good beer. You know, if you want a dessert type beer, I can understand you drinking that, but you're not gonna bring that to, I mean,
A picnic.
Do you really want to session those kind of beers? Like, it's kind of gross. Like, to get drunk off of that kind of beer.
Oh no, I would never. I like to do those when I'm just, like doing one, and for hours and hours later, I will not drink another beer. And I'm gonna say another thing: when I drink those really heavy duty beers, and I've got some aging in the fridge, they make me feel kind of sick. You know, like if I drink too much and I'm feeling kind of like, and I'm slurring my words, and then I go lay down and take a nap. When I wake up from a nap, I feel sick. Like I feel like I took medicine or something. I'm like, oh wow, this is really pleasant. No, thank you, it's not pleasant.
I mean, it tastes good. It tastes pretty good because, like, first of all, obviously the more higher alcohol, the more concentrated syrup is in the brew.
Yep.
So, like, I don't know if you ever had the Sierra Nevada Ovila Quad. It's like, it tastes like candy cane sugar plums.
Yeah, but I've had a lot of beers that are just like that, like the Maridsu 12%. Maridsu 12. It is a knockout beer. It will make you fall down in your house. Okay? It is incredible. But you could not bear to drink it more than once or twice a year. I mean, it is not a drinkable product. This beer, you could drink it every day, all the time. You wouldn't get sick. You wouldn't feel bad. You could enjoy it. It has some flavor. It has some body. It has some aroma. Is it the world's greatest beer? No. Does it make that claim? No.
You still don't want to drink, like, 20 in a row, though.
No. Well, I'm not a big drinker, So people will ask me all the time, oh, like, what's your favorite beer to get drunk on? I said, well, I don't really ever get drunk. And they'll say, well, do you remember when you used to get blasted in college? And I'm like, no, because I never drank beer until I was 27. So
Really?
I might be a fuddy-duddy or kind of an oddball, self-admitted. I didn't drink beer until I was 27.
Wow.
And I did it as a hobby, and it's like we're doing now. And you might say, oh, yeah, you're full of bull crap. You're just saying that because you know you're on air. No, wrong. When I started doing this in February 1996, I made it like a project. I was like, oh, okay, this will be a fun hobby. What I'll do is I'll just try all these different beer brands, and when I drink the beer, I'll try to think the beer. You know what I mean? Like, I won't just drink it, I'll think it. Like, what is it, And then I realized that there were other people doing that, and it had all these not Facebook, that didn't exist, but they had these internet, reviewing sites. So I was like, oh, good. And then, of course, I discovered the dark side of the beer world. People that are like really negative, and they got bad hang-ups and worse attitudes, and they're looking to go after people and all that. It's like, I'm not part of your world.
Now, there's a difference between people that criticize people that actually drink this stuff, and then there's some peer reviewers I know that only like review craft beer. They don't like the InBev, but they don't really crap on it to begin with. They just don't really care for it. They don't put it in their reviews, and that's fine.
Hey, I got people that will tell me, look, I see you did a video for this beer. I really don't like it. I find it so dull. But if you like it, hey, that's fine. But I just think it's not a good beer. And I say, well, I understand. I understand that. But to me, and I'll tell them, I'll reply to the comments. To me, it has a lot of character, whatever. But, you know, we can disagree. It's no big tragedy. And then you got the other people that say, you know, hey, whore, I hope you kill I hope you kill yourself tonight because you drank that beer. And it's like, that's the, you know what I mean? That kind of attitude. It's like, yeah, I don't think your comment's going to last on this page too long. You get these kind of people if you go out to a bar. You got just people that cruise around looking for trouble.
Well, that's how some people are in the beer world today. They'll
get beat up at a bar, so they do it online where they're safe, more or less, you know.
And there's also people on the other end, like there's also people that only drink this kind of stuff. As I said, I have a friend that only drinks this kind of stuff, and you know, hates craft. Like he only drinks like the main four, like Budweiser, Corona, Heineken, Blue Moon, Shock Top, and he hates craft beer, but he also hates the lowers like Keystone and Natural Ice, and bagged on me for giving Natural Ice a good grade because I like Natural Ice more than I like Stella Artois. But
oh wow, yeah, those have a lot of characteristics that are positive too. But hey, these neighbors next door, I talked about that. These people live next door to me. They love Bud Light, man. These people are so dedicated. They think craft beer tastes like mud. And they, you know, I'll get them to try it sometimes and they'll humor me. They never enjoy it. So is it my job to look down on them and call them fools and tell them what they need to drink? I don't think so. There's a lot of problems in this world, and who likes which beer ain't one of the problems.
That's true. And plus, there's way too many beers out there to actually make a well-formed decision, in my opinion. There's just too many. You know, I've seen there's some beer reviewers that only review craft beers, and they're on their 2000s beer review, and there's 1,000 more to come, you know? There's so many different beers.
You're right, and I'll say this. I'm really enjoying this hop bitterness that's sort of like subtle. It's not 100 IBUs, and I like beers like that. Now, I honestly, if I drink an IPA, I like it to be so bitter that I can barely drink it. Okay, I like that. But this one, I'm enjoying the subtle complexity. Now, I'm older than you. I'm older than you, but that's just you can't control when you're born, right? So.
I mean, I come from a family. Well, my dad doesn't really like beers, but he grew up drinking beer. Now he's more of a whiskey Scotch drinker. So, hence the Jim Beam in the background.
Yeah, my family was like major beer drinkers, like volume. That was their operating theme. Volume. I don't say alcoholism necessarily, but volume. You know what I mean? But my father, he would drink anything, you know, like Miller High Life, Schlitz. And then with the onset of light beers, he gravitated toward light beers like Coors Light and Miller Lite. And the reason for that, and I think that's the appeal of light beers, you can drink a ton of it. You don't feel full. It's low calorie, but you'll get blasted nonetheless because you're still getting a lot of alcohol. So that's why people love light beers. It's not because they love light beers because they're on a diet. They love light beers because they want to get drunk. And he'll tell you that.
That's not necessarily true.
I mean, in general, I mean, on average, go to a college party. They ain't there to
that is true.
A hop note.
No, but usually if I go out with friends and I don't want to get blasted within the first 3 beers, I would have a light beer just so I can drink something along with my friends and not get blasted.
Right, but I go to these college football games in the fall. These people will drink. These people will drink beer all day long, and by the time the game starts at 7 o'clock, they don't know what's going on. And I mean, they've been drinking. Okay, they might drink Miller Lite, but they're gonna drink it from 9 in the morning, and then they're gonna eat all this food. You know, all this like rich food, like pork ribs and baked beans and all kind of potatoes. It's like, man, why would you want to go to a game after that? I would feel so sick. But you know, that's what America is. America's a decadent, gluttonous, like excessive country. So that's what people do, right? Am I wrong? No, I'm not wrong.
No, you're not. I mean, that's pretty. I mean,
look how much obesity we have in America.
Yeah.
It ain't from being healthy. It ain't from.
It's not from drinking beer either, I don't think.
No, it's from eating massive amounts of food.
That's true. But certain types of food, because some food won't get you fat. Like, I love sushi. Sushi's not going to get you fat.
Yeah, I know. But, you know.
Neither will beer, though, if you know how to drink it correctly.
But I've grown up in this American Roman orgy. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, wait, everybody's having so much fun. But then you got to pay the piper. And but anyway, this examination wasn't about ruminating on the depravity of American culture. It was about
Corona Extra.
It was about Corona. But, you know, my points are valid anyway.
So, Corona Extra. I mean, I already know the answer, but for our folks listening, you would buy this beer again?
Oh, I would certainly buy it again because it is a little overpriced, but I can understand that because when a product is really popular, they're going to charge as much as they can get away with. And they do it and people still buy it. Okay, fine. I would really not want to pay $15.99 for a 12-pack when I can turn right around and go buy Busch Signature Copper Lager, which is just as good as this beer and maybe better. Maybe, you heard what I said, maybe better, for $8 a 12-pack. But I don't ever tell a company how much to charge. If they can get away with it and people buy it, fine. But would I buy it again? Heck yeah, I'd buy it again.
Good answer. Myself, I usually don't buy Corona, but, you know, if it's at a bar, I'll pick it out, or if my friend has one of the choices, I'll buy Corona. I mean, it depends what I'm in the mood for. If I'm in the mood if I'm really, really thirsty, I'll probably get a Corona. But if I'm in the mood for a heavier beer, I'll go, like the other day I was at the concert, they had Corona on the shelves, but they also had Sierra Nevada Pale Ale. I chose the Sierra Nevada just because I was in the mood for that, you know? But if I'm in the mood for a Corona, I'll get the Corona.
Yeah, and who are you to get into moods? Hey, I noticed something at the end of this examination and the end of this 24-ounce can. I'm noticing a certain yeastiness. There's like a.
Well, I finished my beer a while ago, but
I'm picking up even in the residue. There's a yeasty quality. Interesting. You know, I'm sorry to bring down your show with my ruminations on American culture, but
no, it's cool. I like. It doesn't only have to be about the beer. I like everything.
Yeah, and it's not just the beer talking, folks. Hey, but if I was drinking Santa Claus 14%, imagine all the things I would have said.
Or what's this? There was this pumpkin beer that's like 16% that Greg's Beer Reviews did a review on. It was like 16% alcohol. I forgot the name. Rumpkin Pumpkin, something like that.
Yeah, just thinking about it makes me almost want to gag. You know, that kind of stuff is so gag-inducing. It's gross. It's like, would you want to guzzle whiskey? No, because you would throw up, right? So it's like beer is made for drinking, like we're drinking it. Yeah, I'm drinking beer. Not sipping like, ooh, I'm drinking beer. I don't know. I'm sorry. I cannot help it. I got to bring all these philosophical approaches to the videos.
That's true. I mean, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. I've never had the beer. I don't know. It would be cool to taste it. I mean, I probably won't like. I'm not big on those high alcohol beers, but if you like it, you like it, I guess.
Yeah, I know, and I'm ripping on them, but I'm probably going to do a bunch of reviews coming up. They're interesting. They're interesting, but I can't handle them too much.
Oh, you don't like his reviews, or?
Oh no! I'm talking about the beers.
Oh.
the high alcohol beers are interesting, but I can't handle them too much. Oh, I can handle Greg's beer reviews every day. Yeah, fine. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, same thing with me. Like they're a little too much for me. Those high 16%. I think there was one that was as far as 20% or 18%, and that's like really.
No.
I mean, if you like it, you like it. But like for my person, like if you're gonna hand me a 18% or beer, it's like, hey Lee, try this. I'm like, really?
Yeah, I'll be running from it. Hey, I'm really glad that I drank this because it's been a long time, like about a year since I had Corona Extra. And when you said, oh, let's examine Corona Extra, I was like, I'm jumping on that. And I wish other people would have joined us, but
It's okay.
I love the can design. I think it has a sharp can and bottle design. Some of the best can and bottle designs in the beer business.
Yeah, that's actually really, really nice. I guess I should have went as far as to say before, instead of doing the can versus the bottle, maybe we should have did the Corona Extra versus the Corona Light.
Oh yeah.
But oh well, you live and you learn.
I would do that one night. And wouldn't you love to go to Mexico and like tour the brewery in Mexico City and Narva? All the ones we get are from Narva, Mexico, which is about 5 miles from the Texas border. But wouldn't it be interesting to go down to Mexico City and go to the main brewery?
Yeah, I like to visit all breweries. Like I love brew. I just like learning about the ways of brewing.
Yeah, I went to that Anheuser-Busch tour last year. That was fascinating,
I even have Coney Island Brewing Company keychain.
Oh, now
My ex supervisor gave me this.
now they
His
have
buddy works for Corona.
they have their own brewery now.
Yeah. You can find it on the shelves and like Key Food by my house.
But I remember for a good long time, Coney Island did not have their own brewery, and they were contract brewing, and then
I mean, I think they are.
somebody bought out Coney Island though.
Like the beach.
No, I mean Coney Island Brewing.
Oh, you mean the brewery? Okay.
They were bought out by Boston Beer Company, the people that make Samuel Adams.
I mean, they seem, maybe they were bought out, but they seem to still be making beers out of that brewery.
Yeah, Coney Island. I used to love their human. Well, it was too strong though, but it was called a human blockhead.
I mean, it doesn't say on their website that they were bought out. Would it say?
If you, I can show you off air. I don't want to hold up your video, but I can definitely prove that Coney Island was bought out by the makers of Samuel Adams, but they're still Schmaltz, and Schmaltz is still independent. It was two breweries. It was one company. It was called Schmaltz. The people that make Hebrew.
Mm-hmm.
Comical. And then they had Coney Island, but they sold out their Coney Island branch to Boston Beer Company.
Coney Island sold out to Boston?
Yeah, Schmaltz sold Coney Island to Boston.
Okay, I get it.
So now there's Schmaltz. They make Hebrew and Lenny Rye IPA and all that. And then Coney Island is owned by, everybody calls it Samuel Adams, but it's really Boston Beer Company. But that's who owns Coney Island. And I noticed, I was kind of disappointed because when Boston Beer Company bought out Coney Island, they cut out a lot of their like really exotic brands like that Human Blockhead.
I never had that one.
Now, it was kind of like what you're talking about, just a knockout beer. If you drank one big bottle of it, you pass out. No.
So
this happened.
10%er?
I passed out on my floor. What?
Like a 10%er?
Huh. Like 11.7.
Yeah, those days are over for me.
And I drank that bomber bottle. And my friend at work, oh yeah, he thought it was funny until he got fired from his job for being an alcoholic. But anyway, so yeah, see what I mean? This story has a bad ending for him. But for me, I drank it, I was like, oh man, this stuff, oh yeah, it tasted great. It's like, oh, this stuff is great. It's great. And I'm sitting here right where I'm sitting right now, and I'm thinking, oh, this ain't too strong. And then like in a second, like not a millisecond, like 1,000th of a millisecond, I just said, I went from saying this beer is not too strong to saying, I have to lay down. I have to lay down on the floor.
That's crazy.
So I just turned around and I got out of this chair and I said, let me lay down on the carpet. And then I did that for 2 hours, and I thought I had laid down for 15 minutes, but I lay down on my back for 2 hours, and I said to myself, this is not a lifestyle I want to adopt.
Let me share one more story before we close off this air. But and my friends, my close friends from my neighborhood, well, were there when this happened. But my friend Andrew, it was his birthday party, and this was back when I was 16. I think it was Coors Light. I think it was about 6 Coors Lights, and no food in my system. And 9 o'clock at night, and we were playing beer pong. So we were using Coors Lights, and we finished 6 bottles of them. And I basically am not a good aimer. Even when I'm sober, I was never a good aimer. You know how beer pong works, like.
Yeah, I've heard of it. I never played any drinking games in my life, but anyway, I understand the concept.
All right, well, I could never get it in the cup. I would always lose, so I would always have to drink, so I'd have to drink them all. So to make a long story short, I was basically lying on the grass counting the stars just from a Coors Light.
I know. Well, thank goodness you didn't drink the human blockhead barrel aged.
I know, right? But anyway, folks, I think we've gone on for about an hour now, so let's close it with saying Corona Extra.
Corona Extra. It's a winner, and it ain't for no, and it's not just for marketing. It's a winner because it tastes good, and we enjoyed it. Well, at least I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it too. And on to the next examination, whatever that may be. Have a good night, folks.